I was sitting across from my fiancée Celia at our favorite restaurant that evening, and I remember thinking how perfect everything was about to be. We'd been engaged for 8 months, together for 4 years total, and the wedding was just 3 months away. I just put an offer on a house. Not just any house, but the house. The one she'd been obsessively pinning on her Pinterest boards for the past year. Our dream home. Everything was finally falling into place. Or at least, that's what I thought. "So I've been thinking," she said. And there was something in her voice that made me look up. She was twirling her wine glass in that way she does when she's nervous, and I assumed maybe she was worried about the house offer. "Yeah," I said, the seller countered. "I think if we go up another 50,000, the house is ours. Easy. We can make it work." She took this deep breath, the kind you take before jumping into cold water, and said, "That's great, but I've decided to keep my apartment." I paused mid-chew. "Like, as a rental property?" I asked, because that would actually make sense. She could rent it out, bring in some extra income. Smart move. "No," she said. "No, just to keep. For me." I didn't follow. I genuinely didn't understand what she meant. She leaned forward then, and I swear she looked at me like she was explaining basic addition to a child. "Look," she said, "statistics show that a lot of marriages don't work out. I'm just being practical here. I'll keep paying rent on my place, just in case things don't work out between us. It's smart planning." I set down my fork slowly. "Just in case," I repeated. "Don't take it personally, Ryan," she said quickly. "It's like insurance. You have car insurance, but you don't plan to crash, right? Same thing, it's just being prepared." "Right," I said. I nodded slowly, letting it sink in. Smart thinking. Her whole face lit up with relief. "I knew you'd understand," she said, reaching across the table for my hand. "So you'll call the realtor tomorrow about increasing the offer, right? We need to lock this house down." "Absolutely," I said, and I meant it. I would definitely be calling the realtor. The next morning, I did call Janine, our realtor. Just not with the news Celia was expecting. I withdrew our offer on the house. Janine was completely confused, and honestly, I couldn't blame her. "But you were so close," she said. "The sellers would definitely accept another 15,000. You had this in the bag. Plans changed," I told her. "I really appreciate all your help, Janine. Is everything okay? Did something come up with the inspection?" She was worried, trying to figure out what went wrong. "No," I said, just reconsidering my options. Then I made my second call. "Kyle, an old college buddy who manages properties around the city. You still have that loft available?" I asked him. "The one with the home office? The Bachelor special?" "Yeah, I've got it. But wait, I thought you were buying a house with Celia. What happened?" "Change of plans," I said. "Can I see it today?" The loft was absolutely perfect. Modern, clean, minimalist, walking distance to my office. 1 bedroom, 1 home office. Definitely, and I mean definitely, not designed for a married couple. It was a space for one person, someone who wasn't planning to share their life with anyone who kept backup plans. I signed a 2-year lease right there on the spot. That evening, my phone rang during Celia's lunch break. "Hey, babe," she said, all cheerful. "Did you call Janine about the counteroffer?" "I did," I told her. "And? Are we getting the house?" I could hear the excitement in her voice. "Actually," I said, "I withdrew our offer." Silence. Complete silence on the other end. "Then you what? Why would you do that?" "Well, I got to thinking about what you said, about being practical, about smart planning. So I signed a lease on a 1-bedroom loft instead." "A 1-bedroom?" Her voice went up an octave. "What about me? Where am I supposed to fit? You're keeping your apartment, remember?" "Just in case." This place is perfect for just me. Makes sense, right? That's not... I mean, where am I supposed to live after the wedding? In your apartment, I said calmly. The one you're keeping. The one you're paying rent on just in case things don't work out. Ryan, that's ridiculous. I'm keeping it as backup. We're supposed to live together. Oh, I said, that's confusing. Because when you said you were keeping your apartment just in case, I assumed you meant you'd actually be living there. Using it. My mistake. She hung up on me. 20 minutes later, she was pounding on my door. Her hair was all over the place, still in her work clothes, and she pushed past me the second I opened up. We need to talk about this misunderstanding, she announced, like she was declaring war. What misunderstanding? I asked. This. She gestured wildly around, at the air, at everything. The loft, the house, all of it. You're being petty, you're being childish. I'm being practical, I said. You opened my eyes to the statistics, Celia. It makes sense to protect myself, too. That's not how it works. Her voice was rising. I keep my place as backup, but we live in our house together. Our house. So you'd have a whole empty apartment just sitting there, collecting dust, while I pay the full mortgage on a house. That doesn't seem fair. Her mouth opened and closed like she was trying to find words that wouldn't come. You. The mortgage would be both of ours. Would it? Because you'd be paying rent on your apartment every month. That's not cheap. Unless you expected me to cover the entire house payment while you keep your safety net funded. The silence that followed told me absolutely everything I needed to know. I'd hit the nail on the head. The next 3 weeks were, to put it mildly, intense. Celia went through every stage of grief, denial, bargaining, anger, all of it. First came the damage control phase. She started telling everyone who would listen that I was having cold feet, that I was making rash decisions, that this was just wedding jitters blown out of proportion. Her mom, Patricia, called me a few days later. "Ryan, sweetheart," she said in that overly sweet voice. "What's all this about a bachelor pad?" "It's a one-bedroom loft, Patricia. Very practical space. But what about the wedding? Where are you two going to live?" "Celia's keeping her apartment," I reminded her. She was very clear about that decision. "That's just..." I'm sure she didn't mean it the way you're taking it. She literally said, "just in case things don't work out." I'm just being equally practical. Patricia went quiet for a second, then tried again. "This is all some silly misunderstanding. Can't you just buy the house anyway? Work this out later? Why would I buy a house for someone who's already planning for our divorce before we even get married?" She didn't have an answer for that. Nobody did. Then came the bargaining phase. And let me tell you, Celia came prepared. She showed up at my place with spreadsheets. Actual spreadsheets. She had her laptop, her color-coded charts, everything. "Look," she said, setting up on my kitchen counter like this was a business presentation. "I've run all the numbers. If we split the house payment 60-40, I can still afford to keep my apartment. See? Everyone wins. It's perfect. So, I'd pay 60% of the mortgage while you keep a backup apartment." I was reading her spreadsheet, and it was all there in neat little rows. "It's only 60-40 because I'd be paying rent too. It's totally fair, Ryan. Look at the math." I looked at her calculations. She'd even added a line item, I'm not kidding, labeled Celia's security fund. Basically me subsidizing her escape plan. I closed the laptop. "Counter offer," I said. "We both keep our separate places. After a year of marriage, if things are good, if we're solid, we look for a house together. Fresh start." "A year?" She looked like I'd slapped her. "We're supposed to be newlyweds living in a gorgeous house, not living separately like we're roommates with benefits." Then give up the apartment. I can't. Her voice got small. What if something happens? Then I guess we have our answer, I said. She slammed the laptop shut so hard I thought she'd crack the screen, and she left without another word. But Celia's friend group wasn't about to let it go. Britt, Haley, and Jade, the whole crew, they actually showed up at my gym a few days later, cornered me right by the water fountain like some kind of intervention squad. "We need to talk," Britt announced, blocking my path. "About what, exactly?" "About how you're ruining Celia's life over nothing," Haley said. "She's just being smart," Jade added, crossing her arms. "So am I," I said. "No, you're being vindictive," Britt shot back. "She's crying every night, Ryan. The wedding venue is booked, deposits are paid, just buy the damn house." "Why doesn't she give up the apartment?" I asked. They all exchanged these looks like I'd asked them to explain quantum physics. Because that's different." "Different? How?" "Women need security," Britt said, like it was obvious, "and men don't." "You make more money," she accused. "You can afford it." Which is exactly why she thinks I should pay most of the mortgage while she keeps her escape hatch funded. Do you not see how insane that is? None of them had a response to that. They just stood there, glaring at me like I was the villain, and eventually they left. 2 months before the wedding, things went from bad to completely nuclear. Celia had been telling everyone we were working through it, that the house situation was still in negotiations. She'd even kept Janine, our realtor, on standby just in case I changed my mind. Then I posted something on Instagram. Just a simple photo of my loft, natural light coming through the windows, my coffee mug on the counter. The caption was simple: "Love my new place. Perfect for the bachelor life." My phone absolutely exploded. The first call was from Trevor, one of my groomsmen. "Bro, what the hell is this about bachelor life?" "The wedding's in 8 weeks. "Yeah," I said, "about that." Within an hour, and I mean within 1 hour, Celia was banging on my door again. This time, she'd brought reinforcements. Her mom and her sister Daphne were standing behind her like backup singers. "How dare you?" Celia screamed the second I opened the door. "Bachelor life? Are you calling off the wedding? Is that what this is?" "I haven't called off anything," I said calmly. "I'm just being honest about my living situation." Patricia tried the soft approach, the reasonable mom voice. "Ryan, sweetheart, be reasonable. Celia made one small request about keeping her apartment, and you've turned it into this whole thing." "One small request," I interrupted. "She called it divorce insurance." "Insurance for when we split up, not if, when." "That's not what I meant," Celia wailed, actual tears starting now. "Then what did you mean?" "Explain it to me. I just wanted security. From your future husband. Security from me." "Got it." Then Daphne stepped forward, pointing her finger at me like she was about to deliver some devastating truth. "You're being financially abusive," she said. "How, exactly?" "By controlling her with money. By not buying a house. I'm not controlling anything. She can keep her apartment. I'll keep my loft. Everyone gets what they want. Everyone's happy." "That's not a marriage," Celia shouted. "Married people live together. They share their lives, then give up the apartment." "I can't. You don't understand. What if you leave me? What if you cheat? What if I leave? What if I cheat?" I let that hang in the air. "Your apartment plan only protects you, Celia. Not us. Just you." She actually stamped her foot like a child. "That's different. I'm taking all the risk getting married. I'm giving up everything." "How, exactly, are you taking more risk than me?" "Explain that math to me. I'm giving up my independence, my freedom, your backup plan." "Yeah, that's the problem." They left after more shouting, more accusations, more tears. But the real kicker, the thing that made me realize just how far this had gone, came the next day. I got a call from Janine, and she was actually laughing. "Ryan," she said, "you're not going to believe this. Try me. Celia just called me asking if the house was still available." "Is it? Well, no. The sellers accepted another offer last week, but here's the thing. She wanted to know if she could buy it. Solo. She told me you two were restructuring your financial arrangement. She wanted to buy our dream house without me. I couldn't even process it." "It gets better," Janine continued. "She asked if I knew any programs for first-time buyers with low down payments. When I told her she'd need at least 20% down for a house that size, she asked if you'd already put down a deposit that she could use. Are you serious right now?" "Dead serious." She seemed to think that since you'd made the original offer, any earnest money was communal property, that she was entitled to it. "We're not even married yet." That's exactly what I told her. She hung up on me after that. 1 month before the wedding, Celia decided to go full scorched earth. First move? She sent out updated wedding invitations. Brand new ones. These invitations included an address for our new home. The house I'd withdrawn the offer on. The house that was no longer available. The house that someone else had already bought. My mom called, completely confused. "Ryan, honey, this address on the invitation? I thought you said you got a loft." "I did, Mom. Celia's just being optimistic." "Optimistic? The wedding's in 4 weeks. Do you two have a house or not?" "I know, Mom. Do you?" "Because I have 150 people calling me asking about this beautiful new home address, and I don't know what to tell them." The calls kept coming. Family members, friends, co-workers, everyone wanting to know about our gorgeous new house. And Celia, she'd gone all out. She'd even created a wedding website with photos stolen from the old listing, talking about where we'll start our lives together, describing the kitchen, the backyard, everything. It was completely delusional. I texted her, "You need to tell people the truth about the house." Her response came back immediately, "Buy it and it will be the truth." "It's already sold to someone else." "Then buy a different one." "Any house? You don't even care which one anymore?" "I don't care. Just buy something." "With what down payment? You're keeping all your savings for your apartment fund." "Use your savings. The ones I'm using for my loft and, life. Pass." She showed up at my door that night with a stack of papers. She was triumphant, practically glowing. "I found the solution," she announced, pushing past me into my living room. The papers were loan documents. For a house. She'd found a different one, smaller, in a significantly worse neighborhood. And here's the kicker. Here's the part that made my blood run cold. She'd listed me as the primary borrower, without my knowledge, without my permission, without even telling me. "You started a loan application in my name," I said, flipping through the pages. "It's perfect," she said, like she didn't hear the problem. "The payment is way less than the other house. You can afford it on your own, no problem. Celia, this is fraud. You committed fraud. It's not fraud. We're getting married. What's yours is mine, right? We're not married yet. And you're keeping a separate apartment. So how is what's mine yours if what's yours isn't mine? Explain that logic to me. Stop twisting things around. Just sign the papers and we can move forward." "No." Her face changed. "Then I'll tell everyone you're abusive, that you're trying to make me homeless, that you're controlling me. You have an apartment, the one you're fighting to keep. That's not the point. That's exactly the point. That's the entire point." She grabbed the papers, crumpling them in her fists, and stormed toward the door. But she stopped, turned back to me, and delivered her final threat. "If you don't fix this, If you don't figure this out, the wedding is off." "Okay," I said. She froze. Completely froze. "Okay, just, okay. If you need me to buy you a house while you keep your own apartment to marry me, then we shouldn't get married. It's that simple. You can't call my bluff like that." "I just did," I said. The wedding was officially called off 2 weeks before the date. Celia tried to spin it as mutual, as something we both decided together. But the truth came out, like it always does, when her sister Daphne got drunk and posted on Facebook. The post said, "My sister deserves better than a man who won't even buy her a house. Ryan is trash. She just wanted to keep her apartment for safety, and he turned it into this whole thing. Now she's stuck in her tiny apartment while he lives in his bachelor pad. Men are garbage." The comments section was absolutely enlightening. Turns out several of Celia's friends knew about her plan all along. Britt commented, "Girl, I told you to wait until after the wedding to tell him about keeping the apartment. You should have locked it down first." Haley added, "Should have just bought the house first, then mentioned it later." He couldn't back out then. My personal favorite was from Jade. "This is why you don't date men who think they deserve equality." The mask had fully slipped. Everything I'd suspected, everything I'd wondered about, it was all right there in the comments for everyone to see. But Celia still wasn't done. She tried one last Hail Mary, one final desperate play. She showed up at my loft with her dad, Robert. He was a successful contractor, the kind of man who'd worked his whole life building things with his hands, and he expected other men to step up and do the same. "Ryan," he said, trying to look stern and paternal, "this has gone far enough. My little girl is heartbroken. You need to end this. I'm sorry to hear that she's hurting," I said honestly. "You're going to fix this. You're going to buy a house, you're going to marry my daughter, and you're going to stop this nonsense about her apartment." "No," I said, "I'm not." His face went red. "Excuse me? What did you just say to me? Your daughter wants me to buy a house while she keeps a backup apartment. That's not a partnership, Robert. That's not a marriage. That's called being smart. You should be proud she's thinking ahead instead of punishing her for it. Thinking ahead by planning for our divorce before we're even married? That's what I should be proud of?" By protecting herself. You know what kind of world we live in? Women need to be smart. Yeah, I do know what kind of world we live in, which is exactly why I'm protecting myself too. Celia had been quiet this whole time, just standing there watching us go back and forth. Suddenly, she burst into tears. "I just wanted security," she sobbed. "Is that so wrong? Is it so terrible to want to feel safe?" "No," I said, and I meant it, but expecting me to provide everything, buy everything, fund everything while you keep your exit strategy ready to go? That's wrong. That's not partnership. That's not love. Robert stepped closer, trying to be intimidating. "Now you listen here, young man." "No," I interrupted. "You listen. Your daughter spent 4 years with me. 4 years. She knows I'm not abusive. She knows I'm not a cheater. She knows I'm not a bad partner, and yet she still wants divorce insurance. What does that tell you about how she really feels? It tells me she's smart," he said. "It tells me she doesn't actually want to marry me. She wants to marry my wallet while keeping her options open. She wants all the benefits with none of the commitment." "How dare you?" Celia gasped through her tears. "I dare because it's true, and deep down, you all know it." Celia's tears mysteriously stopped, just dried up like someone flipped a switch. "Fine," she said. "You want the truth? You really want the honest truth?" "Yes," I said. "I've wanted it this whole time. Yes, I wanted security. Yes, I wanted to make sure I'd be okay if things went wrong. Because that's what smart women do. That's what we're told to do. Protect ourselves. And what do smart men do? They provide, she said. They take care of their partners. Not for people already planning their exit. I don't provide for someone who's got one foot out the door. 2 weeks later, on what would have been our wedding day, I was sitting in my loft with a coffee, actually feeling pretty peaceful, when my phone started buzzing. A series of texts from Celia. The first one said, "The apartment is too expensive on just my salary." Then, "I had to give up my car lease. I can't afford both." Then, "My dad won't help me because he says I should have married you." And finally, "This is all your fault. I hope you're happy in your stupid loft." I was, actually. I was very happy. The loft was perfect for everything I needed. I'd started dating someone new, Wendy, from my cycling group. When I told her the whole story one night over dinner, she just laughed and shook her head. "So, wait," she said. "Let me get this straight. She wanted you to buy a house while she kept an escape apartment just in case you got divorced. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life." It was refreshing, honestly. Refreshing to be with someone who saw it for what it was. Last I heard, and I only know this because word gets around, Celia had to get a roommate to afford her security apartment. The roommate has a boyfriend who practically lives there full-time, so now Celia's got even less space than before. She's been telling people I financially abandoned her, which is hilarious. She conveniently leaves out the part where she wanted to keep separate residences and expected me to fund her backup plan. Her friend Britt actually reached out to me last month fishing for information. "Celia misses you," she said, like that was supposed to mean something. Good for her. She realizes now that keeping the apartment was silly. She's grown, she's changed. "It wasn't silly," I said. "It was telling. She just wanted to feel safe, Ryan, and now she is. Safe in her apartment, the one she kept just in case." "You're such an asshole," Britt said. "I'm an asshole for not buying a house for someone who didn't trust our marriage would last." Make that make sense. She blocked me after that, which was fine by me. So here's the moral of the story, if there is one. When someone shows you who they are, when they tell you exactly what they think and what they want, believe them. Don't make excuses, don't rationalize it away, just believe them. Celia showed me she was someone who wanted all the benefits of marriage, the house, the partnership, the commitment, while keeping one foot permanently out the door. She wanted security, but only for herself. She wanted a partnership where I took all the financial risk, all the emotional risk, while she hedged her bets and kept her safety net funded and ready. She called it being practical. She called it smart planning. I called it showing her true colors. Now she's practically living with a roommate and their boyfriend in her security apartment, the one she fought so hard to keep, while I'm genuinely happy in my loft. Funny how things work out sometimes. Turns out we both got exactly what we asked for. She got to keep her apartment just in case, and I got to keep my self-respect, my common sense, and my future. The only thing she lost. The guy who was actually willing to fully commit while she played it safe and hedged her bets. Smart thinking indeed.